Welcome to Too Stupid for Web3. It's a show that makes sure you don't end up like me, too stupid to win. I will bring on weekly smart people from across Web3 to break things down in a way that actually makes sense. Whether you're just getting your feet wet or you've been in the Web3 space for a long time, I got something for you. We're going to talk about news, interviews, real talk about what's going on in crypto, Web3, and of course, the Upland metaverse. It's awesome to be back. So this is the first show of Too Stupid for Web3, and everybody that reached out, I really appreciate all the kind words and everything that you said while I was on my 4-week hiatus. Thank you so much to City Pigeon and Puppet for allowing me to get back into this time slot. I was really looking forward to launching, and then all of a sudden they sent me a message when I was down in Dallas for work, and they said that they were launching a new show in the time slot. So, if you watched their show last week, we kind of hashed through it, but it's good to be back. I missed everyone. Audience, please bear with me too, because I'm used to somebody else controlling all the comments. So now it's just me by myself, something totally different. Very, very different format, but it's going to be the same. I thought it would be fun to talk about things that are going on in just the Web3 space itself, along with giving you my thoughts on Upland itself. I mean, we've come a long way since the UpX podcast show started, where now we have people broadcasting Sunday through Friday night, and then you have people doing their pre-recorded channels. So yeah, I figured that we don't need as many people talking about the same articles with their own takes. So I will dedicate part of my show to definitely talking about Upland, what I think, and there's been a lot of exciting news about it. But at the same time, I think it will help our community grow, the Upland community and the Web3 community, if I start making it kind of go, kind of have some other stuff. The other guy quit. In a way, man, we had 5 years. I mean, what do you expect there after 5 years that the guy just says, hey, I've had enough? But yes, Thank Me Later is off to his own projects. Actually, when I was down in Dallas for work, I got to hang out with him for a weekend. So had a super, super fun time with him. And it was a good time getting to hang out with him. And I'm glad everybody's back so quickly. It's awesome. Thank you, City Pigeon, for letting everybody know we'll be back on tonight. But yeah, looking to attract new people along with growing our Upland community. Today, I have a couple of news articles I did want to cover. Hopefully, there's so much that I want to get to in this show. Hopefully, I can get to it all. I'll have to prioritize. One of the things that I'm most excited about for today's show, and you know what's best, is I can call this a great show at the beginning of the show and not have somebody tell me that I can't call it a great show because I have nobody talking to me and in my ear. But yet at the same time, that's about 30 minutes of filler that I now have to fill myself, that I could just let Thank Me Later go on some rants. Some people liked it, some people didn't. Well, Spy, thank you so much for this being the first show you're watching. Hopefully I don't disappoint you. Swarley, what's up? I'm trying to get through everybody right now. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I have an exciting interview today. I have no idea what's going on with the USC and TML's affiliation with that. Yeah. Oh, I'm still going to give my views. I'm just not going to dedicate a whole show to it. Good to see you too. Thank you for coming back. Yeah, half of us is gone, but we'll get into more of that. But today's guest, I'll jump right into. Very excited about it. I was seeing some of their posts on X, and as I was contemplating what my new show was going to be like, they really caught my interest there. It took a minute to think about. I knew the show was ending. And I started going, it was kind of like a breakup process. We were doing this every year for 5 years. And it was just, I went through the breakup process. So I was ready probably like 2 weeks after the show ended to get back to hanging out with people, because that was one of my realizations. I said it last week on the Mint to Be podcast, is I developed I developed an ability to hang out with my friends on Thursday night without having to leave a house. I could come hang out, and we had our little group that's backstage that we talk about each and every day. Then we have the audience that's there. We had the people reaching out. So I realized, how special Thursday nights were to me, and how special everyone out there was to me. So it was great. I get to hang out with my friends on Thursday night. I don't have to buy anybody anything, even though we do give prizes away. And, I don't have to go anywhere. I only have to put a fancy shirt on. I don't have to get like super dressed up. So I realized how special this time frame has become for not only myself, but a lot of people in the community. So, but that was a long tangent. Um, I, s- I saw this individual posting and some comments, and it really made me start to think. And I was kind of aligned, and I thought it would be a fun interview, fun to have this person on as a guest and talk about a subject and throw everybody off. So today, I'm going to bring on somebody very familiar to most of you in this community. And the majority of the conversation is not going to be about Upland, if you can imagine that. But it does have impact into Upland, and it does have impact into the future of Upland. And I'm very excited to have this conversation. It's going to be about Web3 gaming versus the traditional gaming. And the first person I thought of to talk about this is the one and only X1 the gamer. How we doing, X1?
Hey, I'm doing really good. I'm so happy that you reached out and invited me. And you're sitting there talking. I'm gonna have smart people on my show every week, and I thought, well, that must start next week because it's definitely
Hey,
there are smarter people than me out there for sure. So, but Too Stupid, welcome back. It is good. I will say I missed it because how it would work is I would either watch your guys' show late Thursday night, like midnight, or Friday in the afternoon sometime. And so it's been gone for a few weeks. So my Fridays have been empty. So I'm glad that you are back, and I'm really excited for your new show here.
really appreciate it. Really appreciate we can make this work too. Oh man, I'll tell you about my thought that I just had there off stage. It's more from a host perspective, nothing to do with what we're going to talk about, but something we work on, and you'll catch it too. Yeah, it's great to be back, and it's great to have you on as the first guest. Very excited for it. You started your post on X started kind of getting more into the gaming community, which I really like. And I thought it was very exciting. You talking about the different personalities that you run into the gaming communities. And then you started making the one post you made about the Web3 gamers. You're not reinventing. This is stuff that traditional gamers have been doing for a very long time.
Yeah.
And that got my thoughts rolling. I'm like, this could be a great discussion that we can have. I go, it's not even an interview. It's more like a conversation or a dialogue that we'll have together about this today.
Very cool. Yeah, it's a big pet peeve of mine. I don't know if you have the tweet. I don't remember the full thing. I think it was a tweet from NFT NYC, and they were talking about that they were reinventing something, and I don't even remember the specific of what they were reinventing. It's like, wait a minute, dude, that's existed in gaming for forever, and that's a big problem with Web3. I've mostly my entire life have been involved in mainstream gaming or regular gaming, and I actually don't think there's a difference between Web3 gaming and gaming. I think there's just gaming, and there happens to be an overlap between interests. If you're a gamer that is interested in Web3 or not, but there's no such thing, in my opinion, as a Web3 game. Anyways, we could get into that in a little while. But
when you're saying that you're a gamer, are you, because even in the gaming community, you have your console gaming, you have your PC gaming, and you have your mobile app gaming. So like there's still sub communities in the gaming community.
Yeah, mobile app is much more casual. I think when you say you're a gamer, what comes to mind traditionally is you're a console/PC gamer. If we're gonna take like a hardcore level, like the hardest core gamer is probably on PC, and then consoles underneath that, and then Nintendo Switch, and then and then mobile gaming would be underneath that. And that's not like a hierarchy of who's better than who, but I would say, like, perception wise, at least in my experience, that has been, if you've got a PC and you're building your PC from scratch to maximize gaming, you've got the latest GPU card in there, and you're trying to, 120 frames on your freaking ballsy PC build, you are hardcore, dude.
And from a gaming company aspect, each one of the people, from the gaming console to the PC, even to the mobile amps, there are people that will dump thousands upon thousands of dollars into it. So it's very interesting.
Oh, it's billion dollar, soon to be $1 trillion business for a reason.
Absolutely. And with the Web3 aspect of it, we've been around this space for, I mean, you joined the Upland team 3 years ago. Was that your first introduction to Web3 style gaming, or you're going on 4 years now? I'm sorry, 3.5.
It's actually almost 5 years.
5.
Yeah. Well, time flies, though, right? It doesn't seem that long ago.
2022.
No, 2020.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were right. Well, was it 2020? No, it was 2020. It was 2020.
Okay.
It was January 2020. So
no, because I started January 2020 and we had Laz as the community manager.
Then it was January 2021.
Yes.
Then there you go.
Because we had you on in February 2021.
Dude, we have lived in this time period, side note, where 2021 seems like a decade ago, right? Or is that just us getting older? I don't know if it's one or the other, but it feels like a lot has happened just since 2021.
Yes, absolutely.
So anyways, yeah, so I joined in 2021. Before that, I was involved in a traditional gaming company. We were trying to be it was another startup. We were trying to be the Instagram of gaming. That eventually just became Instagram. Instagram was the Instagram of gaming, and Twitter was the Twitter of gaming. But it was a fun time. I've always ran since 2013 an Xbox podcast, and that's actually how I got my first start in the business, is from doing a weekly Xbox podcast. I was a little bit lucky, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I think it's myself, my brother, and my cousin that do it together every week, and we haven't. So I understand, like, giving up something that you do regularly. We've been doing it consistently since 2013, and it's just for fun. It's just a hobby thing. We have a fairly sizable audience for by podcast standards, but it's not because we're that great. It's honestly because we rode the wave of we were doing it before anyone was big, before podcasting really became mainstream. So, but that's how I got my start. And so I'm very heavily involved in traditional gaming, particularly in Xbox gaming, but then PC gaming as well. So those are that's my real forte. That's my real passion when it comes to gaming. And so one of my big pet peeves, and this was the tweet, is, since I've been in the Web3 space, everybody talks about Web3 in the space as if it's super revolutionary, and some things are revolutionary. The idea of being totally transparent via a blockchain is very revolutionary. The idea of owning your information across the web, instead of the Facebook owning your information and farming your information and owning the rights to your information, that's a revolutionary idea as well. Outside of that, though, here's one that I hate. Here's one that really bothers me. Web3 is all about community. Web3 games are all about community. Well, so is other see World of Warcraft circa 2002. Like every other video game on the planet is all about community, guys. And it really bothers me. We Web3 games, like we connect digitally. Yeah, it's called streaming, and it existed 5 years before Web3 even existed. So get in line, everyone. And so there is, and I will say it does the industry a disservice, because if you're outside of it, it comes up when you see these people, and a lot of times it's people in marketing in Web3 that are saying this. It comes off as arrogant and out of touch. And it is, and to be honest, it is both of those things. It's arrogant and out of touch.
I thought about this today. Usually when I do a show, I start prepping by like Wednesday. When I might have came up with this yesterday or today, and it kind of rolls through my mind as I prep through a show what I want to talk about. Is this because, do we see this arrogance? because we've grown up in the era of influencers on social media and the use of AI using the adjectives to really like boost stuff. Is this a product of our environment of the last decade?
A little bit. I don't think it has anything to do with AI. It does have a lot to do with what happened in the Web3 space with like NFTs and stuff. Is they blew up, and it expanded really quick. I mean, 2022, 2023 was like the peak of that. And I mean, this being involved in the space, whether you look at Top Shots, or even what was happening in Upland at the time, it was insane. Like,
yes,
you didn't have to do anything, and it was like millions of people were jumping in, checking it out. Like that's kind of what happened there. And in that, a lot of people, there was this surge of interest. And so there was a lot of people that started to create content off of that surge of interest, or joined the industry off that surge of interest, and started becoming a content creator off of it, and saying stuff like that. And it became their identity, and they separated themselves out. And Web3 sounds cool, like Web3 versus Web2. But in gaming, I just don't think there's the divide that we think there is, or that, not we, but I would say that the Web3 influencers / marketers think there is.
Yeah. Now, I think one of the positives of Web3 gaming is being able to own your assets and having secondary markets that are legit that you can sell. Because I know people that mobile app game that they build farm accounts and just sell them off on the side on eBay. Same with PC games and all that.
Oh yeah.
So now you can get that shiny new asset, have it as braggable, and you can see it, or you can actually sell it and have confidence in that sale.
Yeah, I think that is the crux. I do think that is the legitimacy of Web3, and people will be like, well, wait a minute, you work for a Web3 company, X1. How can you be smashing Web3 this way and talking about it? No, I work for a mobile gaming company that utilizes Web3 technology, and I think that that's the difference. And that when you look around the industry, and you look at Upland versus other games that at some points had way more hype than Upland, with celebrities talking about them and stuff, Upland is still around and they're not. And the reason is because Upland is a mobile game with Web3 features and technology in the background, not as the selling point. And that's the different. But the things that sets Upland apart is that ownership aspect, 100%.
Yeah. Now with that, it's what. So we keyed on the aspect of the revolutionizing the game, but where do you see traditional gaming standing out versus the Web3 gaming right now, and why what else they're going to steal from the traditional gaming? It's fair to say that they're stealing ideas.
Yeah, I think that there's not. I don't think that. Okay, let me start with this. I kind of disagree with the premise a little bit.
Okay.
And this is the premise that I disagree with, is that there is Web3 games and that there is Web2 games. And I just don't think that that's the case. I think there are video games, and some of those video games will utilize Web3 technology. I think if you look at any game in the space that refers to itself as a Web3 game, they're going to lose. And they're going to lose because there's a mismatch of audience there. I think people where Web3 is your primary interest, and I'm not talking about people who like are into Web3 and also gaming. Like let's put those people aside. I'm talking about people who, a lot of people who, for instance, joined Upland during the height of speculation on NFT assets, for instance. They are speculators, not gamers. And so what does that mean? That means that you have a mismatch of audiences if you're a video game, and your mismatch of audience, if you're putting Web3 first as your selling point, your mismatch is people who care about investing. They want to put, I'll use Upland as an example. I want to be able to buy my property in Los Angeles, not play any of the game at all, come back in 3 years and sell it for $100,000. And that may very well work for a time, but it's not going to work for forever. games want gamers who play their game. Games want gamers, and games only work with gamers who are interested in the experience, not in the investment. And I think that's the key difference. So there is an overlap between people interested in Web3 and video games, but I don't think there are only Web3 people who are interested in Web3 games. I think those are called speculators/investors, and there's a big mismatch there in video games. So I think that there's just video games. I think the big question is between traditional video games and video games that utilize Web3 technologies is, will traditional video games utilize some Web3 technologies, and will Web3 technologies in video games become more acceptable? And I think the answer is yes. I think it's slowly becoming that way. So for instance, Web3 games weren't allowed on Steam for the longest time. They weren't allowed you weren't allowed to talk about them even on TikTok for the longest time. Epic Games kind of opened that floodgate, and the Epic Games Store you're allowed to be on. You're allowed to be on Steam. You're allowed to be on all these storefronts now, and platforms allow that. And so I do think you're going to see more games utilize those technologies on the back end.
Yeah, as I was researching for the show and testing some things out, there were some announcements of some games being added to Steam that are considered Web3 games. But I was like, ooh, this is going to be great for the show. But that was like 2 weeks ago. So that's old news now. Like, that's old news now, the way that news moves today. But yeah, I think, you're going to see the lines blur between gamers and gamers that use the traditional gaming and actually will embrace games that are utilizing the Web3 technology. And I think it will lead to, a lot of growth. And when it's simple and when it's mobile, like, I know we said we weren't going to talk about Upland a lot on this on this discussion, but that was the thing that attracted both myself and Thank Me Later was it was mobile. It was easy. The wallet setup was easy. There was no wallet setup. I didn't have to get C keys. I didn't have to get all that. But there's a marketplace in game where it's nice and secure. And I know that I can sell stuff and nobody's going to rug pull me.
Yeah. I think that's you. And I think that's why so many of the quote unquote, I'm going to put this in quotation, the big Web3 games that are out there, we have stepped over their dead bodies to say it. It doesn't mean that Upland is perfect. It doesn't mean that we're where we want to be. No, but I think you can see the general trajectory over, I'd say, just the last 3 months on the double and triple downing on gaming and gaming mechanics and Web3. I mean, we've been doing this for a while, but Web3 is not what we put our foot first or our front foot first. Blah 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 blah. But you know what I'm saying. It's about I mean when you think about it too, Upland. What Upland really is, if you're to explain Upland to a traditional gamer, we're a community-driven city building MMO. Like that would be it. And I think you're going to see Upland lean more heavily into that with all of the Web3 stuff on the background, because the Web3 stuff works as the game side works. And it becomes more valuable the more in-depth a game becomes, the more culture a game has, the more experiences that a game has, and the more tied in to those experiences that players are.
What is how to phrase this one? I thought we were going to have a longer discussion on this. I was like, oh, this is going to be good, but like we kind of attacked it pretty hard. We kind of got right into it, and I was like, that threw out a lot of questions that I scribbled down here. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I think Web3 is going to take off in a few ways. So if you think about like traditional, or like, let me rephrase that. I think the Web3 features take off in a few ways. Players already love collecting skins, achievements, badges in games. In fact, if you look at the latest Call of Duty, in fact, Call of Duty has come under some fire, Call of Duty Warzone, because they have like Beavis and Butthead skins now in the game. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not Call of Duty. That's like Fortnite. But they are selling, and it's selling because, okay, it kind of is cool seeing Beavis and Butthead blow people up, and
I
people
just need a fat Cartman running around Call of
yeah,
Duty.
exactly. And so people are already paying for those because they're invested in the experience, and there is like this idea of collecting all of those as they come out. There is, you know, season passes have become a thing, or are a thing in games, achievements, the whole shot. And I think Web3 value only, or the Web3 functionality, that technology, it adds value if it enhances those features, not if it dominates those. So if you're like, if you're like, if you're a marketer in the space and you're saying, well, we're Web3 and we're a Web3 video game, I personally view that that's incorrect, and your game is going to attract the wrong audience. I think what you say is, we're a game and you have all these things you can collect, blah blah. Oh, and you get to own them. Like, so it enhances the feature. It doesn't dominate the game. I think if your pitch screams, we're an NFT marketplace, gamers tune out because and we've seen that. That is the reality.
Yes.
Gamers tune out, and that's why a lot of games haven't taken off. And the games that just have it in the background, like Upland, are the ones that are still around, and the ones that will succeed long term.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing is Web3 attracts, as you said, the investors. You've seen it in plenty of games of, you know, where do I buy this token? How do I sell this token? It's more about how can I 1000x my investment. And it was hard convincing people, you know, on a lot of different platforms early on that these are games. These are games. But it was just the way it was marketed, and you had the crypto bull run going on at the time. You had the NFT explosion going on at the time, and it was all about how can I flip this and turn my $10 into $100,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what is tricky in that, and this is what has to be figured out long term, is if you have ownership in a game, then you automatically have two competing interests in any given event. And what are those two competing interests that naturally bubble up? And this is to no one's fault. This is just the natural state of human beings. You have people who, hey, I want to play this game. I want to be a part of this experience. And then you have the people of, hey, I want to buy that asset so I can sell to the people who want to play that game and be a part of that experience. And so there's this tension there, and it's very difficult to solve. And at Upland, we're really trying to solve it. I think one of the things that we're really, I think, forward thinking on, and that illustrates it the best, is Sparklet Wars. Sparklet Wars is a limited time event, and it serves as a case study for the entire industry. People want to partake of the event. Other people want to sell to those that partake of the event. How do you balance those? How do you make it so that those who want to participate can, without removing the true ownership aspect of it? It's very tricky. We don't pretend to have the answer there. We've got a lot of great suggestions from the community, but that to me is the key tension that has to be solved in order for a game with Web3 principles to compete with a Call of Duty, for instance.
Right. And I think it comes down to the ownership and the proof of ownership that Web3 technology has that will help some of these games when they establish markets. Because I know some gamers that they're all about getting the brightest, shiniest object. If it's a 1-on-1, they want it. If it's super rare, they want it. They want to be in the best, they want to be in the best gamer classification that you can have for it. And that really helps because people are like, oh, I've seen people ripped off in all kind of Web3 spaces, Web2 spaces. It's just traditional, just thinking that they're getting something that they're not. And the ownership with the Web3 technology will really help, I think, games find another revenue stream. That's kind of what it comes down to, is another revenue stream. So you're not having the black market deals.
Yeah. I mean, having everything transparent definitely makes the black market easily exposed, for sure.
So wait, Maui says good morning and Laban says good night. Are you guys like on shifts or something? Like one wakes up and the other goes to bed? What's going on there? No. Let's see here. What you killed all my questions, man.
Oh, sorry. I looked up, by the way, I went and found my tweet and it was NFT NYC. It was, and I screenshotted it, and they had posted out a company that is doing something with NFTs in education. And this is what they said. NFTs aren't just art, they're transforming education. Schools are using them for personal badges, gamified learning, rare digital resources, and interactive experiences. It's time to rethink classroom engagement in a crypto age. Let me introduce you to Minecraft. That is used in every single elementary school on the planet to teach coding, to teach mathematics, to teach logic and logic issues. Let me introduce you to Roblox, which is used the same way. So it's that tweet is like what bothers me, and I think what does the industry a disservice and turns a lot of people off that otherwise maybe would be interested in, like, oh, okay, what's this idea of true ownership? What does it mean, and what does it mean for me? Instead, they're like, that's dumb. Like, Minecraft has existed for forever. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, you get limited, and a lot of people don't do their research about what's out there and what's already going on, and they make the bold claims. And you got people like us who are like, what rock have you been living under?
Yeah. Where have you been? Hey, I know you think that you're on the cutting edge of everything, but you're not. Cool your jets, bro. Cool your jets.
No. Is there anything else you want to address on this topic? You crushed it tonight, my man.
Oh, sorry. I hope I apologize. I hope I don't know.
I get it. You run your shows, you do your videos too. So you know how to roll with it. So I don't have to ask as many leading questions, or, you just kind of roll with it and go with it. So
yeah. Well,
let me ask
you, do you agree with my assessment? Do you disagree with it? Like, do you think do you think that's the correct viewpoint, or do you think I'm off in anywhere?
No, I actually agree with it, and I can go all the way back into late 2020, early 2021, when I said we weren't going to talk about Upland, but here I go again. They were joining Upland, and they said, "Where can I trade UpX? What exchange can I get this on? I bought this. What's the exchange rate?" We're like, "There's no exchange rate," and there were people asking for they just bought a property for $3 and they're asking for $3,000 for it, and they're like, bro, it's Web3. We're getting this is how it works. And we're like, this is not how this game works.
Yeah.
And then you've seen a lot of things that hanging out with TML over the last 5 years, I learned more about the mobile gaming industry because he has such great insights. That guy spends stupid amount of money each year on mobile games just because he can.
Oh yeah.
just so he can be the best. And then talking to some other friends that are big Call of Duty players and Madden players. And yeah, there's nothing new that Web3 is doing other than what we talked about with transparency, true ownership, and being able to solidify to help weed out the black market. There's always going to be a black market, but it's reduced it, and it's reduced the amount of naive people being ripped off.
Wow. Yeah. I agree. I agree with that 100%. Although in some ways, like, it has opened up new scammers. I have news for new scammers too.
I mean, yes, people are always instead of trying to work and just earn money the proper way through these games, they're trying to scam you.
Yeah, and I don't think I think the thing is I think when people think of gaming, and this is where Thank Me Later is 100% correct in what I heard him talk about, especially on the mobile gaming side. When people think of gaming, we went over the hardcore gamer hierarchy there. And so, like, your hardcore PC gamers, for instance, kind of look down on mobile gamers, mobile games, not realizing how much some of these mobile games are making. So I'll give you an example. Like Diablo is a huge Blizzard franchise, really
Yep.
cool hardcore game, right? And they dropped their mobile game, and in its first year, it made some ridiculous like $500 million in its first year. Brand new IP on mobile gaming. Now think about this: players are dropping thousands and thousands of dollars. For everybody that's like, I'm dropping thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars, or there's $25 on this pack inside of Upland. What am I going to get back for it? Most games people drop hundreds of dollars on, and with the only thing they get back is time, like their time playing
Bragging
the game.
rights.
Yeah, bragging rights. And so people are buying jewels in Diablo. There's a like $60 horse, famous $60 horse skin that I may or may not have purchased in Diablo 4. And all it is everybody in Diablo 4 gets a horse that you get to ride on at some point, a mount. And it's just a mount skin, but it looks cool. And yeah, I dropped $60 on it, and I'm not, I am kind of ashamed to admit that, and it does nothing for me except you don't even, to put it in perspective as well, you only use it. Like if you play Diablo for, let's say 5 hours, you may use it for 10 minutes out of that 5 hours. But for that 10 minutes, I look badass. Okay.
Right.
Let me tell you, I look like I am dominating the demons from hell like nobody else. So, but no, so their Diablo Immortal made like 500 million, and Diablo 4, which is their top selling Diablo of all time. I mean, I think made like 600 million. So, but you can see like those numbers are pretty close, and
Right.
mobile gaming is huge. And the reason is because it's in everyone's pocket. Like, and it's easy to sit down and play. And I'm not tethered to a PC or a console. And
yeah, I mean, Dizzy coined the Dizzy Deuce. He's like, when I'm in the bathroom, I'm able to jump on Upland. I'm taking my Dizzy Deuce, and
that's
I'm
how he has
my Upex.
That's how he gets so many badges. That son of a bitch.
It's the access there, and everybody gets in their little bubble, and they're like, oh, I'm an Xbox guy, I'm a PlayStation guy, this or that, and they're just more a lot of people don't step back and look at the economy and the money that's behind the games. Blizzard was very smart doing that, putting Diablo on mobile, because think about, they probably did not spend as much money on their mobile app as they did on Diablo 4 in development.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. In fact, it's a really famous meme that they were on stage at BlizzCon, which they postponed for a few years, these last few years. But they were on stage at BlizzCon, and it was like, oh, they're going to announce their next Diablo. And it was supposed to be Diablo 4 that they were going to announce, and everyone was really excited. And then instead they announced Diablo Immortals, which is their mobile game. And the entire crowd turned against them. And we're talking, like, you've been to Genesis Week. That's a room of 250, maybe 300 people in that room. Now imagine like 10 of those rooms and everybody booing you and like throwing stuff on stage because you announce a mobile game. And they kind of made the mistake, because one of the developers in the really famous meme is like, do you guys not have a phone? And like, it was like, oh, well, I get the frustration in that moment. And like, hey, why are you booing at us? We're just trying to make this cool thing. And but that was the wrong thing to say. So if I avoid anything in my life, it's having that stage event and getting booed by thousands of people and saying the words, do you not have a phone? Like, do you not play mobile games?
What don't you understand?
What don't you understand? I don't think you understand how awesome this is, and you guys are booing it. Like, and then anyways, it gets booed, and then it drops, and then it freaking kills it. So like because those fans that were there represented those fans that were there, and what they wanted was a traditional hardcore Diablo 4. But there clearly was market demand for a mobile Diablo.
Absolutely.
Do you play any video games? I don't actually know this about you.
I used to, but then the kids started showing up.
Yeah,
I've gotten a little better because my 10-year-old, he's into it now.
Oh, okay.
And he'll ask, and he's like, he'll come out and ask, and front of my wife. So I'm like, yeah, but I'll go play video games with you. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
mean, we had the Atari 2600, the 7800, the Nintendo.
Oh wow, you're like
We went from
OG.
Nintendo to Sega, and then Sega to PlayStation, and it was best. It was just like this joint around the corner from the house. They would rent the PlayStation for like $25 for the weekend or something
Oh wow.
ridiculous. So
Yeah,
we'd
wow.
like every week of Friday, we're there. Let's get it for the weekend, $25.
Yeah, that's cool.
So playing PlayStation, and then I went to the Navy, and then I kept the PlayStation through the Navy and on the ship. But it was more racing and sports games.
Yeah.
That was kind of where, Gran Turismo and it ran. Oh, here's a throwback. Randall Cunningham, quarterback on the
Oh,
Sega
dude, that is a
Genesis.
throwback. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I used to have this the 26, it was a 7800 game, but it played better in the 2600 on Atari. It was a space shuttle game, and you had like switches that you had to throw the switches on the 2600 as you went through liftoff and orbit to space.
Oh, that's almost like a simulator almost.
Yeah, it was super dope back in the day. So
oh, that's cool. Yeah, what's crazy now is there's tons of games that, speaking of simulation, they're crushing it, but they're like job games. Like they're like a really big game that came out was Power Washer Simulator. And have you seen that game? Literally the game is you power wash a backyard, and it sounds, or you do jobs. I'm power washing this car for someone, and it sounds dumb, and it's like,
it's therapeutic,
dude. It's so therapeutic. It's like I think it's the like mindless completing a task and seeing the result as you're doing it.
Yes,
it's like this instant gratification. But there's like truck driver, there's a ship graveyard simulator that I know Squall Muzza and on the community team here at Upland he's in love with at the moment, and that is literally you're scrapping old ships. Like your job is to take them apart at a freaking scrapyard and they're huge, and it's just really interesting that like you can basically turn the big machinery games, that's exactly it, that they have become jobs. I mean, not jobs. These jobs have become games for people.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm interested to watch how it grows, and it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. What about so I think AI and Web3 in the future here really fits well together. What are your thoughts on AI? Like, where do you see AI? How does it affect gaming and games, and where do you see it taking us?
Like I go straight to how do you monetize it, and the ability to have the AI look at the game and write the cheat codes or write the user guides and then flip them on Amazon really quick.
Yeah, that's true. You're definitely good.
But Candy Crush just laid off a lot of their level developers because they've taught AI. They were training AI how to develop the levels of Candy Crush, and then they laid off a lot of their level developers. So it's.
I mean, gaming has kind of been since 2020, since COVID, gaming just blew up. I mean, there was a lot of free money out there, and what did we all do? Well, I got extra few $1,000s in my pocket, and I'm sitting at home all day. Let's spend it on these video games.
Right.
And so all these video games blew up in size, and we're definitely living through a massive correction at the moment. I mean, Microsoft just laid off. Xbox has done multiple layoffs, tons and tons of studios, and nobody's not unaffected. From Rockstar to Blizzard to 2K and EA, everyone is affected, to Candy Crush. And it's two things kind of hitting at once. Number one, there was a lot of bloat there from the free money from COVID. We're still feeling the effects there. And then number two, AI is making it so that you're able to do more with less, and do things that you used to have someone that manually go in and check XYZ. AI can do that and now for you, and you can get a lot quicker. So what I'm excited for there is the turnaround of games should speed up really fast. You mentioned sports games. What I'm excited for there is, so I'm into college football 26 at the moment.
Okay.
And fight on USC Trojans. That's my team. And in any sports games, like they have the announcers, and the announcers sit for hours and hours and hours and weeks recording multiple lines and phrases, and then it just replays in the game. And eventually you hit this point where you've heard the same phrase a million times, and it kind of, but AI, with AI and what AI is able to do with voices, you will be playing games, whether it's a first person shooter. And I think this is what's coming first, whether it's a first person shooter or a sports games, you will have commentators literally commentating on your game. It'll be AI commentators. So it won't be pre-recorded. I mean, it will still be the same voices of those announcers,
Right.
but with AI, they'll literally be commentating on your game, reacting to things, saying one things that they don't say to anyone else in any other game that is being played out there in the world. It's like boom shakalaka. Exactly. Yeah, it's I that's going to be super cool to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that will help. That will help on a lot of those aspects. Definitely super cool.
I mean, think about the streaming aspect, the streaming possibilities that comes from that too. Now streaming a sports game becomes wildly entertaining, and a streamer, I mean, it is already pretty entertaining, especially if you're good at it, but now a streamer's like bouncing off this AI that's commentating on it, and it's just it's going to be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah. And that just has me thinking so many different ways with all the different sports games and the hours that I spent doing it in my youth. and how you're like, oh, they're gonna say, like, you knew what they were gonna say after you did a certain play.
Exactly.
And now and it's gotten better, but still it repeats. So yeah, and then that saves people time. It's gonna be a big time saver. And I think, what was I reading the other day? It was something about it was YouTube video content creators on YouTube. These teams are creating these 2-minute and 30-second videos in like shorter time than ever. Like 2 minutes and 30 seconds used to take like 3 to 4 months to make using, doing the animation like Pixar and all that. But
Yeah.
these AI programs, teams way smaller than the animation teams, are churning out the same content, the same quality in 6 weeks.
Yeah, and we're at the, like, this is the worst that those products will ever be. So like
Right.
we're at the beginning. It's only going to improve from here. That's why in the gaming space, so I do think the Web3 gaming space is ahead of the game and more accepting of these emerging technologies than traditional gamers. In the traditional gaming space, there are a lot of content creators out there and gaming journalists. And if you follow my Twitter, I may or may not get in frequent fights with those gaming journalists. But who say the dumbest stuff like, I will never use AI. Okay, bro. Well, that's like saying that's like recording a video right now and saying, or like back in the day and saying, I will never use Photoshop or Premiere Pro, or I'll never use a MacBook to edit my videos. Okay, you're not going to use the tools that will help you be the best, then everyone's going to pass you by. That's all it is. It's just a tool, guys. And there's this purist, like, no, I need my stuff made by humans. Well, a human is still making it. They just have new tools at their disposal.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, Vape High Guy went back to Intellivision. I forgot about Intellivision.
Oh, yeah, at my barbershop, he has a book, like those, those, like, they're like big hardcover books and it's big pictures, and it's the history of gaming. And it goes way back, and there are items in there that I've never even heard of. But Intellivision always stands out to me as super cool.
Yeah.
Intellivision predates the Nintendo. Nintendo was inspired from Intellivision.
Yes.
So cool. Well, I can tell you AI at Upland, I'm very excited for. I'll bring it back to Upland since just because, sorry, I know this is not necessarily about Upland, but
no.
One thing, just an example of AI is we're looking at residents coming, which I think I'm personally very excited for, because it brings, I mean, that's my wheelhouse there. That is this gamification to the next level, where we have a culture where we become a true world building, city building, MMO type of experience. But what AI is enabling us to do is the algorithms on how our residents, how our uppies going to choose where to live. They're so these are so advanced and will happen in real time that before would take months and years to develop. We're able to develop much faster. The other thing that's really cool is the uppies and their personalities and their biographies. We have true uniqueness and individuality coming there. So every number on the map that will be a resident represents an uppie, a unique uppie, which is super cool. And has never been done before. You know what's interesting too is what has never been done before successfully, because it's been attempted, is SimCities, Skylines, city builders have attempted this multiplayer experience. And it's always failed. SimCity, the latest SimCity being one of the bigger fails. I mean, they relaunched SimCity. It lasted for a year, and the multiplayer aspect basically just screwed it all up. Upland is kind of coming at it from this from this backwards. Like I think there's an advantage here in that we have a multiplayer aspect, a community aspect already, and then we're adding on we're evolving the city building, world building, resident aspect of that after the community is already there. Whereas what got SimCity into trouble is the community and the residents came in at the same time, and one broke the other. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if you see Upland on Steam one day, on Epic Games one day. I wouldn't be surprised if one day you see Upland with a standalone launcher in the same way that Activision Blizzard has a standalone launcher. And we have done it. We've succeeded in being, the first successful true city builder MMO experience that's out there.
Now, since we're on that now, are characters like Slash and Jean-Luc Picard actually going to be uppies?
So iconic parodies, yes. So they're not they're parodies of those. So that's not actually Slash, that's Slush, or I don't know what.
Now, it was pointed out to me the other week as I was having my time off, and I was having a discussion about Upland and being in the game as long as I have. And the question was posed to me: think about you just coming in now, regardless of everything you know, of what was thought about, what was talked about, what was said was going to be developed, not developed. But think about coming into Upland now. Would you be excited about Upland with everything that's going on? And I thought about it, and I said, okay, I have my answer, but first you tell me, since you asked the question, where you would be with it. And they said, absolutely. It would be amazing having these service structures, having the transportation announcement, was today. So that wasn't part of the conversation, but no, having the service structures, the residents, the different style buildings going on, the racing, the community, everything. He goes, absolutely. I'd be excited about Upland now. And I said, yeah, I'm the same way. Now, who do you think I had that conversation with?
Oh man, I have no idea. I'm gonna say Dizzy D while he's taking a deuce.
It was Thank Me Later.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
It was Thank Me Later, the guy that's been super negative for the last few months about it, and he really reset my perspective about Upland, because I'm like, oh, look, service structures. I'm like, we've only been asking for new style of buildings for like 4 years now. And we've only, but and he regrounded me, and he said, actually I regrounded myself with it too. And it was a different perspective. And I don't know if it was his time off from everything too, that made him think of that. But yeah, it was more, a lot of exciting things going on, and it's just a shift of perspective that can change your outlook on things, regardless of how long you've been doing something or been a part of something, because it's different. And people are like electricity. They will take the least path of resistance. They are easy, feeling comfortable with what they know. And if they continue to be told things and not get it, they get disillusioned. But if you take a step back and look at the things, oh, absolutely, these are great things going on. So I think Me Later was on point with that.
Yeah, no, it's really really exciting, and I think you're seeing. I mean, it kind of kicked off a little earlier this year when we started talking about life, and then uppies and residents, and it's really all coming together. So, having said that, I think something that's really hard as a player, as someone who's been a part of how I would view Upland is there's a lot of early access games or preview games that are out there that became a thing that really only started becoming a thing in like 2014, 2015. I think Rust, for those of you that know Rust and play Rust, Rust was like one of the first preview games. And what a preview game is or an early preview game is the game is being built and the developers are letting you play the game while they're building it. And it's both good and bad. It's good for developers because they're getting constant feedback. They're able to see like, okay, this works, this doesn't work. It's good for players in that you get to get into this game early and you're like first in, you get to see it evolve. But on the bad part for players with early access games is it doesn't go as fast as you would like it to. Things that are broken in early access sometimes stay broken for a while for seemingly no reason. And then sometimes things just completely evolve in early access. For instance, Rust today is not even close what it was in 2015. It has evolved that much. And really, Upland is an early access, early preview game. Like Pal World, Spy, amen, Spy. Spy is on point today in comments. Pal World is a prime example of that, minus the Pokemon lawsuits. Let me tell you, if you're a gaming company and someone is going to sue you, the last person you want to sue you is Nintendo with that Pokemon money. And that's what Pal World is. But yeah, no, Pal World is a prime example of an early access title. And I think a lot of the games in the Web3 space were utilizing this early access type of model. And it's a long-term play. It's a 10-year type of vision. Whereas if you're a traditional game, let's look at Rockstar Grand Theft Auto 6, which has got delayed another year here coming out. That's a decade-long development cycle behind the scenes where nobody sees it. When it launches with all the features that you would expect it to launch with and stuff like that. When you're building along with the community, sometimes you don't realize how long it takes stuff to happen, and the trial and error and iterations, and then the feedback loop from the community. And then you drop something, you expected the community to use it a certain way, and they end up using it completely different than you expected it once it's out in the wild. So, I mean, that's I think just the reality of the space that we're in. But it makes it both fun, exciting, but also it can be frustrating for sure.
Yeah. Well, since you wrote with me for the hour when I scheduled you for 20 minutes.
Oh, my bad. I didn't even know.
No,
I mean, tell me to shut up. X1, you need to go.
I love this experience. I love this being the first show, but I want you to join me as I go over a couple of quick things. I'll shorten it up from the segments that I have built around it, but would love your insights on this to see what you think too. If you got another 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Okay, I appreciate it. All right. So one of the big news items that I saw this week is real world asset tokenization. There's a big trend going on in the world right now, and multibank.io came out with some huge news this week. And if they pull this off, other banks are really going to follow suit with it. They ended up launching a $10 billion real estate tokenization platform. They already got Mag Lifestyle, Fireblocks, and Maverick Network. So I got a thunderstorm rolling through. I couldn't tell if it was fireworks or I'm like,
oh, wow.
What just happened outside my window?
Oh, yeah, well, here in Utah tonight, we have tons of fireworks. We have July is firework day. It's July 24th is Utah's when we became a state, and it's a big deal here it's Pioneer Day. It's a big deal in Utah. So we have tons of fireworks today.
Yeah. Now, Here's the big thing is you can have fractional investment in Dubai luxury real estate for $50 with what multi-bank is proposing here.
Interesting.
Now, I need somebody to help me with my graphics. I just don't have time to do it as I was putting this together. I like some have some graphics, some don't. But why this is good? Hey, $50 to own luxury real estate. Usually that's usually a six-figure investment, right? But this is also bringing TradeFi, DeFi synergy along with the regulatory blockchain strength. So you're going to have the ability to get into these luxury properties, and they're talking about having daily yields. I know in this space we seek the passive income, but they're proposing daily yields with this investment here. Once again, not financial advice.
No, super cool idea. I think where we really see real world examples of this will be in Dubai, where with the partial real estate investment there is really cool. But I think home ownership, your deed to your home tokenized is going to be a thing. There's already some cities doing that. I know with a lot of the federal regulations that are coming down the pipe. We just had the Genius Act passed. We're getting the Clarity Act passed here later, which really brings that needed regulation so that companies in our space can operate knowing the rules. Before now, it's been the Wild West, and you don't know, am I going to break a rule? Am I not going to break a rule? Is what I'm doing now, is someone going to set us up to sue us? The federal government could sue you. Right. And so these rules being passed, the Genius Act as the first start in the Clarity Act, will make it so that we can start to use the blockchain in reasonable, realistic, beneficial ways to society, in that immediately, like, hey, I buy this. Let's use tickets. Concert tickets are always the example that's used. It instantly transfers to me as an asset, and I can transfer that to anyone, and it's all above board. And it can happen instantly. So yeah, I think we're just at the beginning of the entire tokenization revolution for sure.
Oh, absolutely. But there are reasons why you should be cautious about it too. They only have 3 billion in like 3 billion. It's still an insane number as is, but they want to go 10 billion. So they're not fully funded. So they have to triple what they already have on hand as assets. So what's your liquidity? There's a lot of what ifs around what's behind that. And then you have the regulatory headwinds, because every country has their own crypto laws there, and one turn of events can send this sinking pretty fast.
Oh yeah, and I think that's why the US becoming the capital of crypto is good, because we're the world's finance center. It makes sense, and if crypto, it makes sense for the US to also do crypto. Like the dollar is the world's reserve. Again, I think it's only going to be benefited here with stable tokens, right? Every bank is now going to have a stable token backed by the dollar, which I think will just speed everything up and make it so that, hey, we're backed by, it becomes less and less risky and more realistic to utilize on a daily basis.
Yeah. And then that's the other caution, is just with all tokens, their current token might be overhyped at the moment. And then what to watch for. So are you going to have the institutional buy-in? What are they going to do? Because you're trying to disrupt a global entity in itself, so are the other banks going to follow? Are they going to buy into it? And is the liquidity there? Can you really tokenize the real estate and provide the daily dividends, daily earnings from it? And as Upland realized in their beginning, the tech performance, will Fireblocks and Mavericks scale smoothly, or are they going to have challenges which turn people away, or are people going to be understanding of the tech hiccups as it's rolling out?
People will be understanding. The loud people will not be.
That is very true.
I can tell you from firsthand experience that the loud people, they will not be understanding.
But the bigger picture, it comes out to being real world asset tokenization is a growing trend, and the market's primed for it, for the disruption. everyday people are looking for it. You know, still this is for accredited investors only, but it's starting to trickle down. It starts with accredited investors, and as the technology rolls out and people get on board with their regulations come out, it's going to trickle down to everybody. And you know, multi-bank could be leading the charge in this, in the real estate realm.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I think who was it? There was someone big today. Go look it up. Someone big was like, there will be more millionaires. Oh, it was the NVIDIA, the head of NVIDIA. So there's going to be more millionaires created in the next 5-10 years than at any time in history. And it's because of this disruption that is coming. And this is a prime example of that.
And then final thoughts, it's, you know, it's a bold move, but they're, you know, they're the trendsetter. Multi-bank IO is the trend center. And it, you know, everybody's been very familiar in the crypto spaces with DeFi and TradeFi, and this is going to be a combination of them. So it will be interesting to watch how this develops and grows. And as you just said, you know, there's a high potential, but we have the execution risk.
Mm.
And then I ran out of time to make the slides for the next topic, but really it was about 4 different Web3 game token updates. And there were, you know, it was Hytopia's launch of Hybux, HYBUX on base. It was the Haunted Space response to their Gaga token crash, and Cambia adds auctions, burns, and airdrops. And then the last one was Battle Derby Games CEO talks about their OOO token. And really, I wanted to focus on zooming out at the big picture. Is volatility is real across tokens in the gaming sphere. Tokenomics are tough, and communication's king, and infrastructure matters. So those are the big things that if you look deeper into the story, I'll put the links to the story in the description so you can dive in a little deeper to it. It was something that I wanted to jump a little deeper into, but that's okay. But we are also seeing, you know, an evolution in Web3 gaming along with the tokens itself. And when we're looking to evaluate it, we want to look at sustainable tokenomics, scalable infrastructure, transparent leadership, you know, that they're engaging early and talking often, and a player first focus that just doesn't chase token pumps, because we either been part of a rug pull or know plenty of people that have been part of a rug pull. So that was kind of where I was at on that topic.
Yeah, I think gaming tokens are very hard to do. I think it's just like if you look at if you go to like CoinGecko and you hit gaming tokens and you just go look at all the ones out there, you know, how many of the games have a ton of players left in them is a big question mark. So it's a difficult. Gaming tokens are a difficult thing. Gaming tokens are tricky to talk about because we're in that realm of legal things with with what I can or cannot say with regards to Smuggler. So I'll stay way far away from it. So.
I know that was a touchy subject, inviting you in for that one, but I also wanted to give the audience a flavor of where the show is going to go. I also had discussions about uppies and the structures, and I know we kind of touched on that too. So
yeah, what are you thinking? You mentioned that if you were to jump in today, you would be excited. But any feedback, any red flags that you're seeing that you want to discuss, or anything that you really like that you want to see more of? What are your thoughts with uppies and residents, or any questions I can answer with regards to that?
I mean, right now I am liking it. I like the concept and the idea. And I'm excited to see it play out. It is more, you know, as I said, I was excited. I've been wanting more structures in Upland for a long time. So it's exciting to see the new structures come out. It's going to be exciting to see the interaction with the uppies. So I mean, it's pretty straightforward now. And, speaking of that, that was one of the games I love playing. I was transitioning from sea duty to shore duty in the Navy,
Mm.
and I was on vacation, and I played the hell out of The Sims Online.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, really, really good. So the Sims, for those of you that don't know, the Sims come from Sim City. So Sim City was the original, and think of Sim City as like a pixel version of what Upland will be when residents come. It's you build a city, people move in and out. Well, the residents there are Sims, and Sims, when it came out, did you know that Sims is one of the only games in the world where the majority of players are women, not men?
Really?
Yeah, isn't that really interesting? It's like there's like 3 games where that's the case, and Sims is one of them. And I think Sims might have the biggest differential. Like it's like 60 or 70 per someone is going to fact check me and say you're an idiot and you're wrong. But from what I remember, it's like 60 to 70% of players are women in Sims. And Sims has come a long way. Sims is huge. Sims is super cool.
Right.
But imagine Uppies. Imagine if we could go Uppies, if Uppies became this sim game. That would be super. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean,
that was the trajectory of Sim City. I don't know that will happen in this case, but it is fun. Sims is cool. When that first came out, dude, when you could get married or like you go, I remember I was the same way. First time playing that game, you're like, I got a job. You're all excited.
and then it falls into the typical grinder aspect too, because you're like, all right, gotta up my skills. I'm reading a book, and you're sitting there just chatting with people. So or you're lifting weights, or
yeah, or cooking. You're doing cooking
Yeah.
over and over. Yeah.
And then the community houses where like people would get together and donate, have the tip jar out so you could throw more money so they could get more easels to paint or more kitchens to cook in. And so everybody, like, they were skill sweatshop factories. I didn't realize it was a sweatshop factory at the time until after the point. I'm like, man, that's a sweatshop factory.
Yeah, it's true. I think I saw a question from Shackleton about life. Will we need life before Uppies come? No, they're 2 standalone. One system kind of complements the other, but they are standalone, and Uppies is coming before life, right before life. We are working with parks right now and mayors, and you saw one of the updates there is the multiple structures on a property. And that's the next step in these communal park experiments that we're doing with mayors. And really the idea there is, okay, if we have communal accounts and communal parks and mayors running these parks, how does the community utilize these? What works for them? What doesn't work for them? Is there loopholes here that we've not seen or been able to foresee that they take advantage of? Stuff like that. So while residence is coming and Uppies, really life is starting here with parks. And you're gonna see park structures drop here shortly, so it's gonna be fun. Service structures on park properties. I think you could do. I don't know. I don't want to say yes or no on that. I don't know if they'll be limited, because it wouldn't make sense to drop. It would make sense to drop the sports courts on a park structure. Like I could see like Central Park or any big park having that big sports courts, but it wouldn't make sense, for instance, to put a hospital on a park.
And that was the other thing, is now the multiple assets on a property, multiple buildings on a property. Now we just need some different apartment styles. We just don't need the vertical structure. We need the 3-tier, the 4-tier. You can build, or just the stretch model row home where you can put multiples or shape them in the L, so you can get some real looking apartment complexes going on.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see what comes from here. I did see a comment about too many service structures coming out. Number one, you don't have to get all of them. We view it as a community effort. However, just like in SimCity or City Skylines, there is a lot of service structures on their way. You need them. You need the variety. You need the variety in the different categories to come as well. So that's that. Expect many more service structures to be coming on their way. What's really exciting is there's going to be service structures tied to specific cities. as well. Certain cities like New York City is going to have service structures, excuse me, that will only be buildable there versus like a Miami or a New York or a Hong Kong as well. And that's one of the exciting things about Uppies. So we announced the Uppies Discovery, and think of that as like a mini game. And the way we foresee it is this is the new game loop, or a game loop for new players, in that, hey, I don't have to dive all the way in on properties yet. I can jump into the game and I can do Uppie's Discovery. Uppie Discoveries, think of it like treasure hunting, except much more casual. I'll be able to just take my Block Explorer and roam LA, for instance, and boop, boop, there's an Uppie here. I'll be able to go, Uppie you can discover here. I'll be able to go see if I can befriend him. You won't be able to befriend them all the time. You'll play games against them. And when you win, there's a chance that you can then mint that Uppie. We see that as a gameplay loop for everybody, but we suspect that some new players will be their first introduction into the game, is this idea of collecting Uppies, and that introduces you to properties. Hey, where can I put my Uppies? Stuff like that. But one of the things that I really like is, and I'm very excited for, is this idea of certain types of personalities, certain types of Uppies will only be discoverable in LA. Certain types of Uppies will be discoverable in Brooklyn, in Queens, in Manhattan, in Miami. We'll have certain kind in London, in Germany. So all of a sudden we bring reason to casually browse these cities. Really, that reason hasn't existed except for minting, except for to mint. It also brings a unique culture to each of these cities. So you can imagine city announcements in the future where we're giving you all the details, and now we're giving you, here's some of the Uppies you'll find here as well, and here's some of the jobs they do, and here's what their personalities are like, and here's what their different styles are unique to this city. So it really, where I'm most excited, I've said culture multiple times, and everybody on the team gets mad at me because I would just say culture. It's culture, guys. I love culture. But it really brings this culture that I just think we have a community culture, but we've never had an in-game living, breathing world culture, and that all of a sudden will exist, and it will exist in a really big way.
Now, John Fitzwall has a great question, is if you have a police station on the proximity of two neighborhoods, because like in Sim City, you pop a police station down and it had its coverage area. Now, will it benefit both neighborhoods? That's an interesting cause, because why would it only be limited? Because I can't cross the border in the same city.
It ends at that line, dude. You can't cross that line. No, I'm just joking there. I actually don't, I'm not involved on that. I don't know what I do know how it works is that it's a multi-level front. So a player, for instance, let's take you 2Stupid to win. You'll have a resident score on your, or an Uppie score on your profile. So I'll be able to look at you and say, there are this many Uppies living at 2Stupids in his structures. Then you'll also have an influence score, a global one, and that will say, man, 2Stupid is this massive influence that like drags, brings people to the neighborhoods that he's in. And then there's a city level score. And then there's a neighborhood level score. And so you can see, like, yes, a police station, for instance, also helps affect the city. And then it also affects the neighborhood. As far as like how it works within both of, two neighborhoods back to back, I don't know the specifics on that. All I can say is I know like there's this like global city neighborhood level that then actually down to property level even.
So here's the funny thing. Years of doing the show, years of encouraging our listeners to take advantage of low Spark rental prices on the Spark exchange to build. I didn't follow my own advice, and I'm kicking myself right now over this. I'm like, oh, all these years and all this UpX, and yeah, I kicked myself. So yeah, once again, I'm too stupid to win. So, it's one of those fun things. Now, I definitely got to thank City Pigeon and Puppet for putting this together. It's something I always talked about wanting to share, but yes, definitely upcoming broadcast. Love that they put this together for everybody. So Friday night, we got the Upland After Dark coming in at 12 a.m. Eastern time. That's why it's Upland After Dark here on the East Coast.
Woo.
And then you got the High Park Ninjas on Sunday. And definitely there's a schedule. Hopefully we'll get all the shows to go ahead and post this to support each other. But we're having some good talks amongst these people creating Upland content. So
yeah, shout out. I also want to shout out a Puppet and City Pigeon, because it was because of this, actually. I had no idea about Spy's channel, Spy's here in chat, and I went down the Spy rabbit hole today because of this document. I'm subscribed to Spy's channel now and have been able to experience all of his videos. And I already knew Metaverse Millen, the Upland Guide, etc., but yeah, so huge shout out, great job, City Pigeon and Puppet.
Yeah, so definitely check those shows out. And hopefully everybody's digging the new vibes of this show. I'll have go a little more in depth on some of the crypto and gaming that uses Web3 technology. That's how I'm going to phrase it from now on. Spy show is pre-recorded, so Spy's the Upland experience. Just go ahead and subscribe to it and get the notifications so you'll know when he posts the new video. Yeah. Hopefully everybody likes the new format. And X1, thank you so much. Like, I was like, all right, I got X1 for 20 minutes and I had all these other things pegged up, but it was great conversation and awesome having you as the first guest on 2Stupid4Web4. And
yeah, thank you. And congrats
for Web3. Sorry. It's a new thing. It's a new thing. It's like I've said, Upland property experts for years, or UpX podcast for years. So I'm trying to get
no, thank you very much. A great show. I told you before, I love the pink. I love the pink in your title. I love the pink on you. That's a good color. But no, I'm so happy that you're doing this show. And I'm flattered and honored that you invited me to this first episode. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. So if you ever want me to rant on some of my strongly held opinions, please have me back, and I'm more than happy to do so. And now tomorrow I'll go into the office and get yelled at for sharing some of those really strong opinions. No, just kidding. They like. I'm just trying to think. Did I say anything that they wouldn't like? No. We're
you're good. No, and I like that. I thought this was an awesome way to kick off the new series. So I thank you for that. And if you got a couple of minutes, hang out backstage once we wrap up the show, and then we'll get you out of there. Really appreciate you taking the time. I know how it is to separate from family on nights that you have family time.
Pioneer Day, baby. Hey, thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you later.
All right, everybody, take care. Have fun. We'll see you next week and out there in the metaverse.